I've spent my entire life understanding just one ironclad law of wealth. Asterisk, asterisk. The moment you start using it to prove yourself, you've already lost. It's a transaction doomed to fail from the start. You're trying to use an external number to fill an internal void. You trade all your time, your energy, even your dignity for a pile of cold symbols. Then hold them up high and shout to the world, "Look at me, I'm worthy." But you forget that anything truly powerful never needs to prove a thing. So today, I don't want to talk about how to win. I want to talk about how not to lose at this phantom game in the first place. Let me tell you, it's all an illusion. Utter, unadulterated foolishness. I once saw a young man, barely in his 30s, who'd made some fast money in a market upswing. The first thing he did not plan for the future, not protect his assets, was to buy a sports car of a blue so loud. I'd never seen anything like it. He drove that thing around town, lap after lap, the engine roaring so loud you could hear it half a street away. He thought everyone was thinking, "Wow, what a success." But what I saw was a kid using noise to drown out his own inner panic. He was screaming at the world, "Look at me. I'm not a nobody. I've made it." The louder you have to shout on the outside, the more terrifyingly silent it is on the inside. That's not a declaration. It's a cry for help. This game of using material things for validation is rigged for you to lose. Why? Because the judges are other people, and the rules are set by them too. Today you buy a mansion, and tomorrow someone builds a bigger estate next door. Today you get the latest luxury car, and next month the new model comes out, instantly making yours obsolete. You're like a hamster running on a wheel. The faster you run, the faster the wheel spins. You never reach the finish line. You just run until you're exhausted, fall off, and realize you were in the same spot the whole time. This isn't accumulating wealth. It's accumulating burdens. You think you own those things, but in reality, they own you. Their maintenance, their depreciation, and the cost of sustaining the lifestyle they demand are all chains shackling you to that wheel, not their master. You're their slave. At its core, human nature is driven by a profound sense of insecurity. We are terrified that we aren't good enough, that we'll be cast out by the tribe, that our existence has no value. So we grasp for things externally. The wealth becomes the most convenient, most quantifiable tool for this grasping. Money becomes a number, a score, used to rank you in the competition of life. Your salary, your net worth, your bank balance, they all become your report card. You carry this report card around, showing it to people, hoping for a well done. But what you usually get is the envy of some and the scorn of those with more. You will never find a score that brings you peace. 1 million isn't enough. 10 million isn't enough. 100 million probably won't be enough either. Because the root of the problem isn't in your bank account. It's in your head. A leaky bucket can never be filled, no matter how much water you pour into it. The wisdom of inversion lies in flipping this question on its head. The question you should be asking is not how much money do I need to prove myself to the world, but rather asterisk, asterisk. How much money do I need to stop having to prove anything to anyone? Asterisk, asterisk. You see, the answers to these two questions will lead you down entirely different paths in life. The first leads to a bottomless pit of desire and anxiety. The second is the only path to true freedom. The real value of wealth was never the shiny consumer goods. It's the single most luxurious thing it can buy you. Asterisk, asterisk, the power of choice. Asterisk, asterisk. Burn that phrase into your mind. Asterisk, the power of choice. Asterisk, that is the soul of wealth. When you have money, it doesn't mean you can buy the world. It means you can look at the vast majority of things you don't want to do and have the courage to say no. This is the most potent force I know. Your boss asks you to do something that violates your principles, and you can calmly tell him, I quit, without worrying about next month's rent. The client you dislike acts entitled, and you can gracefully suggest he find someone else without groveling for the business. An investment that you have zero passion for. Even if everyone says it's a sure thing, you can just shake your head because you don't need that money to prove your acumen. You see, the first liberation wealth gives you is the asterisk, asterisk freedom to refuse. Asterisk, asterisk, in the world of the poor, the word no doesn't exist. They must accept, they must endure, they must compromise, because they have no other choice. But you, through patient accumulation, build a moat around your life. This moat gives you the fortitude to close the gates on all the people, things, and obligations you do not want. This isn't arrogance, it's dignity. It's taking back control of your own life. The second liberation is the asterisk, asterisk, freedom of time. Asterisk, asterisk, let me tell you, young man, I can guarantee you this with all my 90+ years of life. Time is the only truly scarce, truly non-renewable resource in this universe. You can earn back money you've lost. You can rebuild a house that's burned down, but you can never get back a single second that has passed. The absurdity is that most people spend their most precious resource, their time, chasing money they don't actually need. They sell the best 8, 10, even 12 hours of their lives every day to a job they don't love, for a boss they don't respect. They trade their life for a paycheck and then use that paycheck to buy things that offer a brief numbness, just to forget the pain of wasting their lives. When you have enough wealth, you are essentially buying back your own time from the market. You become the master of your time. You can choose to go for a walk in the park on a sunny Tuesday afternoon instead of sitting in a suffocating conference room. You can choose to spend a whole morning reading a book with no particular goal in mind, without worrying about missing a single work email. You can choose to be there for your children when they need you most, to watch them grow up, instead of working late in a distant city and missing every precious moment of their lives. You can arrange every hour of your life and spend it on what you deem most important, on what brings you genuine happiness. That is a luxury no amount of money can truly buy. The third liberation is the asterisk, asterisk, freedom of thought. Asterisk, asterisk, when you no longer have to worry about making a living, your mind is finally free to work for itself. Your thinking is no longer shackled by questions like, how do I make money? How do I save money? How do I survive? You liberate your brain to pursue higher things. You can learn a new language, not for a job, but simply because you love the sound of it. You can study philosophy, explore the universe, and contemplate the meaning of life. These seemingly useless pursuits are the very ingredients that make up a rich soul. As your inner world becomes richer, you'll be amazed to find that your need for the material world shrinks at an incredible rate. You no longer need the latest phone because you care more about face-to-face conversations with friends. You no longer need expensive restaurants because you enjoy the warmth of making a simple dinner at home for your family. You no longer need designer clothes because your confidence comes from your knowledge, your insights, and your character, not the labels hanging on your body. Your inner self becomes like a self-sufficient sun, generating its own light and heat. You no longer need to reflect the light of others to prove you exist. This stage, wealth arrives at a very interesting turning point. The purpose of accumulating wealth is so that one day you can completely forget about it. You work hard to earn money so that money is no longer the most important variable in your life's decisions. You toil away so that one day you have the freedom to choose not to work. This is the beauty of inversion. It's like climbing a mountain. You climb breathlessly, enduring fatigue and loneliness, not to stay at the summit forever, but to experience that commanding view from the top. And then you are free to choose your path down or to climb another higher mountain. The point is, you have the power of choice. I've never spent much time in my life trying to be smart. I've spent all my time trying to avoid being stupid. This is the core of my financial philosophy. The entire financial market is a giant casino filled with temptations designed to make you make mistakes. Those experts in sharp suits with their slick talk, they're not there to help you. They're there to make money times off times you. They complicate simple things, invent jargon you don't understand, and make you feel dumb, so you'll hand your money over to them. It's all a racket. The true path to accumulating wealth is often boring, even tedious. It has no thrilling stories, no get-rich-quick legends. It's like watching paint dry or grass grow. At its core, it's just one concept: compound interest. But the magic of compounding requires one crucial catalyst: time. And patience is what most people lack. They want to plant a seed today and harvest it tomorrow. They treat investing like a lottery and the stock market like an ATM. This mentality is the greatest enemy of wealth. The more you rush, the more you seek shortcuts, the further you get from your destination. The slow is the fastest way, because slow allows you to sidestep all the traps that would have otherwise blown you to pieces. Building wealth is more of a psychological battle than an intellectual one. Your opponent isn't the market or other people. It's that person in the mirror. It's your own greed and fear. When the market soars, greed makes you lose your mind and chase highs. It crashes. Fear makes you sell everything and miss the best opportunities. If you can't even control your own emotions, the best tools and information in the world are useless. So, before you manage your money, you must first manage your mind. Ask yourself, are you buying an asset because it's genuinely valuable, or because you have a fear of missing out? Are you selling because its fundamentals have changed, or purely because of market panic? Understanding human nature is 100 times more important than understanding a balance sheet. I've seen so many so-called smart people who could calculate complex models and predict company earnings, yet they got wiped out during violent market swings. I've also seen some very ordinary people who probably couldn't even read a stock chart, but they did just one thing. They regularly bought quality assets and then forgot about them. Decades later, they were the true winners. They won not with intellect, but with discipline and temperament. They avoided the biggest stupidity of all, being driven by their own emotions to make the wrong decision at the wrong time. So, young man, stop focusing on all the fancy tricks. Return to common sense. Common sense tells you not to invest in things you don't understand. Common sense tells you not to put all your eggs in one basket. Common sense tells you there's no free lunch. And anyone promising high returns with zero risk is a liar, 100% of the time. The common sense tells you to keep enough cash on hand for unpredictable emergencies. Building wealth is a game of defense. First, make sure you don't die. Only then do you have a chance to win. Avoiding failure is far more important than chasing success. When you finally accumulate enough through this boring but effective method, you will arrive at a watershed moment in your life. You've won the survival game. And that's when the hardest question appears. How do you define enough? No one can answer that for you. Only you can. Because enough is not a number in your bank account. It's a state of mind. It's that point where you feel a deep sense of peace, security, and a freedom from anxiety. At that point, you'll discover something marvelous. All those things you once craved, the fancy cars, the luxury watches, the designer goods, they suddenly become utterly uninteresting, not because you can't afford them, but precisely because times you can afford them at any moment, they lose their allure. They are no longer distant dreams, just ordinary products. You drive a normal car, and it feels comfortable because you no longer need your car to tell people what you're worth. You wear a simple watch and find it practical because you just want to know the time. You live in a modest-sized house, and it feels warm because a home is filled with love, not space. That is when you have truly achieved wealth, because you have been completely liberated from your dependence on material things. Your happiness is no longer built on anything that needs to be bought. Your happiness might come from a long conversation with your family, the satisfaction of finishing a good book, the joy of helping someone in need, the sight of a flower on a morning walk. These are the things money cannot buy, and they are the most real and lasting sources of joy in life. The highest form of wealth isn't having everything, it's needing nothing. This may sound philosophical, but it is the culmination of my life's experience. Your inner self is sufficiently rich, steadfast, and strong. You become your own center of value. You don't need any external labels to define you. You don't need anyone's approval to validate you. You live in a state of abundance that radiates from within. Only then can you truly and purely enjoy the world. You can pursue your passions, not for fame or fortune, but simply because you love them. You can build deep relationships, not for networking, but simply because you genuinely admire the other person. This is the ultimate liberation that wealth can provide. It frees you from the expectations of society, from the trap of consumerism, from the misery of comparison, and finally, it frees you from the version of yourself that was full of fear and insecurity. You are no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of desire. You are a free soul. So, young man, don't get your priorities mixed up. Don't turn the pursuit of wealth into an arms race to satisfy your ego. Treat wealth as a tool to help you reclaim control of your life, ownership of your time, and freedom for your mind. Be patient, avoid stupidity, and focus on your inner growth. The day comes that you can stand before a dazzling shop window and feel not a single ripple of desire. When you can face another's bragging with a genuine, untroubled smile, your greatest wealth is your own inner peace and the large empty spaces on your calendar. Then, my friend, congratulations. You will have reached the highest state of wealth. You no longer need anything to prove yourself, because you, yourself, are the best proof there is. Remember my words. It will save you many, many wasted years. That's all I have to say. Now, it's your turn to go and experience it for yourself. The road is long, but the view is magnificent, and it's worth a slow journey.